Welcome to the deep dive. We often talk about different perspectives in international relations, but today we're going to really get into the weeds of how some Russian scholars are thinking about world politics.
It can be so hard to get a handle on those sorts of things. It's all very theoretical.
Right. And that's why we're diving deep into the Wikipedia page for a specific academic journal called International Trends.
Ah, okay. So not just reading some articles, but like getting the big picture of the whole journal as a platform.
Exactly. It's about understanding this journal as a significant voice. Who's reading it? What does its existence tell us about the broader conversation happening within Russia about IR? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
The journal's full name in Russian is, hold on, let me make sure I pronounce this right, Международные процессы.
Международные процессы.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Which I think translates pretty directly to international trends.
Yeah, makes sense. No fancy wordplay there. And the focus is exactly what we're interested in. IR theory and all those research methods they use to study world politics. Like if you ever wondered about the academic underpinnings of Russian foreign policy debates, this is a journal you want to be familiar with.
For sure. Makes sense to me.
Now, one thing that jumps out right away is the publication schedule. International Trends comes out 3 times a year.
Oh, so it's triannual.
Exactly, triannual. And that kind of frequency, it often allows for more in-depth, considered analyses compared to those journals that are coming out every other month or even monthly.
You're right. Yeah, they can really, really dive deep into complex topics.
Yeah, it suggests a space for that kind of thoughtful engagement.
Definitely.
And the publisher is something called the Academic Educational Forum on International Relations, which is based in Russia.
Okay.
And this journal's been around for a while now, since 2002.
So it's pretty well established then.
It is. It even has those kind of identifiers you see with serious academic stuff, like the standard abbreviation ISO4 int trends and those unique ISSN numbers, those numbers they use.
Oh, right, like a product code.
Yeah, exactly. And they have them for both the print version and the online version. So the print one's 1728-2756 and the online one's 1811-2773.
Oh, wow, that's pretty interesting. So they've really been around for a while.
Yeah, and if you're curious to actually see this journal for yourself, the website is intertrends.uu.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Now, here's where it gets interesting for me. The funding. From when it launched in 2002 up to 2012, International Trends was actually supported by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation.
Oh, wow, the MacArthur Foundation.
Yeah, and that's that huge U.S.-based foundation, right?
Right?
They're known for all sorts of stuff, global initiatives, peace and security work, you name it.
That is very interesting. It's not like you don't see a major U.S. foundation backing a Russian international relations journal every day.
You don't. And it makes you wonder what the thinking was there. Was there a period where maybe they saw eye to eye a little more on international issues, wanted to support scholarly exchange and all that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole decade of support. That's pretty significant.
It is. But then in 2012, things changed. They started getting support from the State Club Foundation. And, as someone who wants to understand the nuances here, that shift in funding is something to really think about. Could it have changed the focus, the kind of perspectives that get published in the journal?
I see what you mean. It's like, yeah, whose interests are at play here? Yeah. Makes you think.
Definitely something to keep in the back of your mind. So let's talk about the people running this thing. International Trends was founded by Alexei Bogaturov, and he was also the editor-in-chief for the first 10 years.
Oh, so he was really there from the beginning.
He was. And get this, he's still involved today. He's the chair of the editorial board, which tells me, he probably still has a pretty big influence on the journal's direction.
Yeah, I mean, the founder of something, they usually set the tone, right? The intellectual direction. So it makes sense he would still be involved.
Yeah. And then in 2012, Andrei Baikov took over as editor-in-chief.
Okay, so kind of a changing of the guard there.
Yeah. And knowing who the current editor is, it gives you a sense of maybe the more current thinking that shapes the content.
Yeah, I mean, the editor, they're kind of the gatekeeper, right? They decide what actually gets published.
Exactly. So how is International Trends viewed in Russia's academic world? Well, it's included in the list of the Higher Attestation Commission of Russia.
The Higher Attestation Commission.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's
Think of it as the official stamp of approval for academic journals in Russia. It meets their standards of quality and all that.
Oh, okay, so like the government is saying, yeah, this is legit.
Exactly. And here's a bonus for anyone who wants to, do some more research. International Trends, they have online access to their articles. So if there's some author or topic that catches your eye, you can probably find it pretty easily.
That's really helpful. Online access makes a huge difference these days. Anyone can read it.
And get this. In 2015, the Higher School of Economics, they ranked International Trends as one of the top 5 Russian journals for political science, gave it an A2 rating.
Wow, top 5. That's pretty impressive. And an A2 rating, that's got to be good, right?
It is, especially coming from another respected academic institution in Russia. But honestly, maybe even more telling is this study that was published in World Economy and International Relations in 2014. They found that a whopping 95%, that's 95% of the Russian scholars they surveyed considered international trends to be, really important for how international relations theory is developing in Russia.
95%. Wow. That's almost everyone. That's basically a consensus.
It is. The experts themselves are saying this journal matters. Now, I know you're familiar with impact factors.
Oh, yeah. How often a journal's articles are cited by other researchers? It's one way to measure impact, I guess.
Right. And according to the Russian Science Citation Index, in 2013, International Trends had an impact factor of 0.808.
Okay, so it was being cited, it was, out there in the academic conversation.
Exactly. So all this information, it comes from the Wikipedia page, and they do list their references.
Oh, yeah. It's always good to see where the information's coming from.
For example, they mention the official website of the Academic Educational Forum on International Relations, and they accessed that back in 2013.
Okay, so that's the publisher, right?
Yep. They also have a link to an analysis of the journal's activity on elibrary.ru.
elibrary.u. It's that?
It's a big Russian platform for academic research. And this entry, it lists the journal's 2-year impact factor for 2013, which matches what we just talked about.
Oh, okay, so consistent data. That's good.
It is. They also reference that list from the Higher Attestation Commission, the one that includes International Trends as a leading periodical. And that link actually goes to an archived version from 2013.
Okay, so it's been on that list for a while.
Yeah, it has. And of course, they list the journal's own website, intertrends.uu. Always good to check the primary source when you can.
Absolutely.
And then there's a citation for that expert assessment we mentioned earlier, the one by the Higher School of Economics from 2015. So we know where that top 5 ranking and that A2 rating comes from.
Yeah, all very transparent. That's good.
It is. And last but not least, they cite the research published in World Economy and International Relations in 2014, where they found that 95% of scholars agree on this journal's importance.
Right. The one where basically everyone said, yeah, this journal's a big deal.
Exactly. So, big picture time. What have we learned about International Trends? It's a respected academic journal in Russia, that's clear, and it's focused on international relations theory. It's been around for over 2 decades, has had different funding sources, and has been led by people who are clearly influential in the field.
And it's not just about the facts and figures. It's the fact that the Russian academic community really sees this journal as important. The official recognition, the high ranking from the Higher School of Economics, and that survey where almost everyone said it was key to how IR theory is developing in Russia.
That's what makes this journal so fascinating.
It really is.
And this is why this deep dive matters. If you really want to understand IR, you got to look beyond just one set of viewpoints. And knowing about journals like International Trends, it gives you a peek into those intellectual debates happening elsewhere.
Yeah, it helps you see the bigger picture, different approaches, different ways of thinking about the world.
Exactly. Now, here's something for you to think about after this. Given how highly Russian IR scholars regard international trends, what kind of themes, what unique perspectives might you find in its articles? And how might those perspectives, how might they line up with or even clash with the IR theories that are more popular in, say, Western academic circles?
Oh, that's a good question. That's something to really consider.
It is. It gives you a whole new way to explore this field.
It does. It does.
So, yeah, that's International Trends in a nutshell. Fascinating stuff.
It really is. I'm glad we did this deep dive.
Me too. Me too. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And to all of you listening, keep diving deep.